Okay. So this is good. This is kind of an on the fly video. I'll set it up for you. So my wife is out and my daughter is out of the shower. My two sons, they're out of the house, and my one son is out with his friends. So I have uh, basically I have four kids and one wife. And I'm sitting out there and I'm watching The Bear, which is a great show, out on the back deck with the TV, which is another great thing, by the way, in retirement. Like, I got my deck all set up. I'll do a video of it. Stuff that I always wanted to do that I never really had time to do. But I'm on myself, and it's only been a couple hours. I don't even think I'm hitting 2 hours yet, maybe an hour and a half. And something that's been hitting me a lot lately is, especially Beth just went back to work. Because she's a teacher, she's off. So we went on vacation, Midwest for 2 weeks, which I was talking to a neighbor friend of mine the other day, and she's like, "Oh, how did that go?" I'm like, "It was great. Not only was it great, but we actually turned the radio off the whole time." So, and I kind of do these funny little tests now that I'm at home, and that was one of them because I know she's not into music like I am, and because she's with kids all day, and so even when she gets home, I try and be a little quieter. But I wanted to see just how it would go if I didn't turn the radio on at all. So for 2 weeks, we didn't listen to any radio when we were driving in the West, going to national parks and stuff like that. So, but what's been really hitting me lately a lot, and I've been talking to her about it, is just how empty retirement would be without her. I mean, obviously, if something happened, I would, we would adapt and be strong for the kids and stuff. But I think just recently, since I've retired, I realized just what a great partner she is and how important she is to me. And I think it's something, and maybe, I mean, there may be women out there watching this too, but as guys, we start to take for granted. And you know what? The finances, yeah, hey, listen, if you've seen my story, I grew up with like nothing, paid for everything. Um, had a good job, did all the savings, did all the right steps and all. And I couldn't have done any of that without my wife. Even now, the reason she's working, other than being a teacher, is because of that solid relationship we've had all these years. And as well as because I love her, it's like one of the important things. If you retire, I could probably do a whole video on this, but we'll just put a lot in this one. If you retire before your wife, then you know what? Stereotypes and all that stuff's got to go out the window. So I do all the cooking, I do all the cleaning, I do all the washing. I'm not as good at the wash for some reason. Like um, she's still better. I don't know. I'd probably leave the towels in the bathroom forever, but I'd probably leave the sheets forever. But for her, I'm willing to do that stuff, and for me, she's willing to keep working. As a teacher, which obviously different than my job, but so it's that really. And then she stayed at home for like 14 years or whatever. It's 10 years, I think, and then 4 years part time. So it's that whole history and that whole background and that whole strong friendship that allows all this stuff to work. And just recently, I was even with a neighbor earlier today, and he had a stroke. He's recovering, but he had a stroke a month and a half ago, something like that. And just nothing. You can't take anything for granted. Things can change in a moment. And I want to enjoy this retirement with her. So I've been pushing her a little more. She's like, "Oh, what do we do?" And the more and more, our plan is for her at 62, she can start collecting her retirement. So I don't know. I'm pushing her hard. I'm like, the plan says that you can retire at 62. Now she won't. The part of the problem is it's September, so she'll be 62. I mean, she just turned 60, but 2 years from now it'll be September, so it'll be just the start of the school year. And this kind of gives you a little insight into her and her job. And she's like, "Well, Steve, I couldn't like just come back to school with all these kids and just leave." Meanwhile, I'm like when February 1 hit, I'm like, "You got 8 weeks, and then I'm gone with my job." But you just saw my video at my job. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, you know what? Invest. Your number one investment is your spouse, your significant other. And I don't know. I think sometimes women do a little better job than we do, but let her know she looks good. Be willing to do things, especially if you retire. You got to go the extra mile. You got to treat her like gold if she's still working. And the other thing too is just work on that relationship, talk, share, do all those things, because I'm telling you, like, even now, like I think my first year, I was actually okay. I mean, like, it's great. We probably wouldn't have done this if she wasn't a teacher. Because like I said, she's been off for the last 2 months, which has been great. We spent a lot, spent all our time together. Um, but I don't. I think the first year I was just decompressing so much that it was just great. Now that I've decompressed and I'm kind of back to where I should be, uh, I'm really realizing how much I miss her. And even when she stopped working, or when she went back to work 2 weeks ago, I just told her, I said, it's just not as much fun without you around. I mean, great, I'm not going to work for that. It was a nightmare. But and so I'm just doing everything I can to make her life easy. I make sure dinner's on the table at 5 when she walks in. I make sure the food shopping is all up to par. I ask her, hey, is there anything I can get you? Making sure the Diet Coke's full. It's all those little things, but it's so much bigger an investment. It's just even, and it's, it's like everything else, right? Even with the money, it's all those little steps you do your whole life. The life of your relationship with your spouse, all the little investments you made all those years, all the communication lines you kept open all those years, all the time you spent together. Um, that's so important. And I guess that's why date night's so important too, because here I am, you know, here I am, and two of my kids are out of the house. I'm sure this my third son, I'm sure he'll be taken off eventually. And then, and I'm sure eventually my daughter will, she'll do something too. But, you know, okay, just a minute. I can't believe I'm going to say this. One of the things you have to do, which I have to do right away after this, is I got to clip my nose hairs because my wife was like, Steve, your nose hairs are getting a little thick. So instead of becoming defensive, I'm like, yeah, you're right. I got to clip my nose hairs. So now that I looked in the video, I'm like, oh boy, I do have to clip my nose hairs. But so basically, the whole point of this video is, don't lose track. And if you're not retired yet, make sure you do those date nights. Make sure, that you keep those lines of communication open. Make sure she knows you love her, because retirement is so much better. And I get both of it. I kind of get both right now, right? Because she goes to work for the 10 months. And granted, she gets a week off Christmas, week off spring break. So we get time together, which is awesome. She gets teachers convention, a lot of cool things where we can go away for 3-day weekends and stuff like that. But retirement is way better spent with someone else. And it's awesome when it's spent with someone you love. So I'm just sitting here in the house by myself. Thought I'd make a video. Hopefully it helps just a friendly little, knock on the head to remind you to invest in your spouse, because your kids are all going to leave, but your spouse can make or break your retirement. And I'm telling you, I'm excited. I'm thrilled to death. I want her to retire the second she can start collecting, so that we can start do more stuff together. So again, thanks for watching. I appreciate all you guys. I love the comments. I hope this is of value. I only do things that I think could be important, that are important to me. So take care. Later.